Hey everyone, it's Ivan with kitbadger.com, out here for another gear review, and today talking camp pillows, these right here by Rikki Tikki. We'll go ahead and start with the what. They are inflatable camp pillows. Whether you're car camping, backpacking, even traveling, kind of depending on where you're going, and yeah, pillow you can travel with. Two different kinds. This one right here is a regular, and then they also have their deluxe. Both of them share a bunch of the same features. Ultimately, they come in a little stuff sack, which fortunately, if you're like me, sometimes you lose stuff sacks, and these are actually attached, sewn onto the pillow. So you're not going to end up losing it. But this one right here is the deluxe version, I guess we'll call. And inside here, we have a valve, same with both of them. And you can go ahead and inflate it, usually 3 or 4 breaths, depending on how big your lungs are. And fortunately, there's kind of like a rudimentary purge valve of sorts. So when you're blowing this thing up, unlike a pool toy or something like that, where when you stop, you have to pinch it closed. Otherwise, all the air is going to go out of it. This, you don't run into that. And you can just go ahead and close it up. This tucks inside. And we have some male-female Velcro. Boom. Nice, comfy camp pillow. As I mentioned, 2 different ones, this being the regular versus the upgraded. And are there some differences? There are. In part, this is smaller, more compact, and it's a little bit lighter. Weight-wise, you're looking at 4 ounces versus 4.5 ounces. And dimensionally, they are the same. I believe 15 inches by 12 inches by about 4.5 inches. And there are some upgrades that are upgrades depending on how you look at it, depending kind of on use case. On the one hand, look very similar. This one right here has kind of a different type of inner bag material. The upgraded one has some sort of TPU, it's a little bit stronger. And you notice this kind of black nylon shell versus the other side, which is that soft cotton. So the upgraded one, the entire pillowcase, I guess we'll call it, is made of that soft cotton, whereas this one has nylon, but depends on use. So I'll blow this guy up real quick. Again, we have the bag sewn into the actual pillowcase and some male-female Velcro. And once again, we have our pillow. This one, like I said, this being kind of the original, it has this nylon backing, which, to be honest, I kind of prefer on a certain level. When it comes to camping out of doors, yes, pillows are awesome. They definitely can lend to a much better night's sleep. But the other part of it, honestly, on a practical level, whether I end up using something like this or even just my sleeping pad, is to be able to set it down and sit somewhere nice and insulated, which is nice, way better than sitting on rocks or the dirt. One, you're insulated, it'll keep you warm and definitely comfortable. So the reason personally I actually like the regular one versus kind of their upgraded one is that nylon shell. You can sit on this, not a big deal. In the snow, it's going to end up getting wet. And the other thing is definitely not as durable, the cotton rather, to that nylon. And so just from a durability standpoint, and you save half an ounce, which can be important. I will say pillows make a big difference. Depending on where you're going, what you're doing, one, a good night's sleep is huge. But the other part of it is, especially when you're in cold places, being able to insulate yourself, that's giant. Like, the ground will rob you of all your heat very quickly. That's why you have ground pads. And to that end, being able to have something like this, getting your head up off the ground, being more comfortable, but also insulating. So how have I used it? First time I took these out was actually up Strawberry Mountain. They did great up there. And since then, used them more, to include, I think I was traveling between Thunder Ranch and going hunting down in southern Idaho. Stopped off by, I think it was Crater of the Moon National Park or something like that. Ended up camping, definitely below freezing, and woke up ice all over the place. But using these made a huge difference on just ultimately getting a good night's sleep, which you're like, good night's sleep's nice. No, it's really, really nice. Especially appreciate it more and more kind of the older you get. When you're younger, you can just blow it off and be like, cool, I'm gonna go tough it out. You get older, you're like, maybe I don't want to tough it out. Maybe I'll just be comfortable. Another thing I like about these pillows, whether it is the upgraded version or the original version, is depending on how much air you put in, you can basically adjust the firmness. So if you want something to where your head's going to kind of sink down in more, just don't put as much air in. And the other thing I actually appreciate, just kind of one of the details, mentioned it earlier, is one-way valve. So if you're trying to blow something up and it doesn't have a one-way valve, constantly end up with air coming out of it. Or if you're trying to get air out of something and again, one-way valve, the air doesn't want to come out. It makes it a pain. So this has pretty rudimentary but really kind of well executed like purge valve essentially. So depending on what you're doing, right now it's set up for blowing air in and valve's open, air is not coming out of it. But if you reach in here, basically get a hold of this little rubber flap inside there, you lift it up, it comes outside of the valve, making a open exit for all of that air that is inside there, and lets you get all the air out of it. And then you can push that back down and it seals up. And so now it's ready for when I want to inflate this, start blowing into it, air pushes through that valve and creates basically back pressure against it, seals up there so you don't have air escaping. Makes it really handy. And then, of course, they basically go into their own stuff sacks, which are sewn in so you can't lose them. If you're interested in picking one up, you can do so over on Amazon. The regular version, nylon backed, about 4 ounces, I believe about $16. Upgraded version, about $21. This cotton all the way around, upgraded TPU material, and about 4.5 ounces. Half-ounce difference between the two. Overall, I think they're pretty awesome, especially for backpacking. 4 or 4.5 ounces, is it worth it? Depends on how light you're trying to go. I will say, if you wake up from a bad night's sleep, you will gladly pay the price of that extra 4 ounces for a good night's sleep. And being able to just have something nice and comfortable to sit on in camp, also pretty nice. But if you appreciate my content and want to support it, I greatly appreciate it. Whether it's liking and sharing videos or going over to kitbadger.com, picking up KBAT target pads, stickers, patches, things like that, or supporting me directly through Patreon, helps me go out, create more content for you. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.